All right, hey, it's Rob, and good morning. I got all dressed up today to talk about the bonus tracks on the Thriller 40th anniversary release. It's this week that I'm making the video. Matter of fact, it comes out Friday, which is my birthday, November 18th. I'm pretty sure that, they did that on account of me, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so I'm just going to do a rundown real quick here of the bonus tracks that we're going to see on that second disc. On Amazon, the thing's like $11 now. Just go get it. There's no reason not to. There's got to be something good on there. I know there's an extended deluxe repackaged release with more mixes and things like that, but the things I'm always interested in are, of course, the unreleased songs, the demos. If you don't know my history, I actually worked, I don't want to say with Michael Jackson, but I worked in the studio where Michael Jackson recorded Dangerous. For 2 years, I was a studio runner. That meant I went and got lunch, and sometimes I'd set up a couple microphone stands in the studio or plug in a couple of wires or, that kind of stuff. I was a gopher. And but for 2 years, I was there when Michael was recording Dangerous. My aunt recently said, "Did you work on the Michael Jackson record where he dressed up like Halloween?" And of course, that's Thriller that we're talking about today. I was in 10th grade. It was a little, not before my time, but I would have been too young to be involved in that. But I definitely spent 2 years with Michael in the studio when he was recording Dangerous. So I maybe have a little bit of perspective that other people don't have on his life, his work, that kind of stuff. So let's get into it. There are 10 bonus tracks that are going to be included on that second disc of the Thriller 40th anniversary release. And number 1 is Starlight. Now, Starlight I actually heard before because there was a small reel-to-reel, copy of it sitting in the studio when Rod Temperton was there one day. And I think Michael said, "Oh, let's hear Starlight." So they played the original version of Thriller, which is Starlight. Many people know this, and many people have heard this before. It's pretty much the same song, but instead of singing Thriller, they sing Starlight, Starlight Sun. And that is what you're going to hear on the first bonus track of the 40th anniversary version of Thriller. I've got some notes here. Like I said, it was written by Rod Temperton. Rod was is he gone? I think he did pass away a little while ago, but the great songwriter. He was a member of the funk band Heatwave. He placed a lot of songs on Michael Jackson records going back to Off the Wall. He wrote Rock With You. He wrote Burn This Disco Out, and of course the title track Off the Wall. On Thriller, he managed to place The Lady in My Life and Baby Be Mine, which is the only song that I think wasn't a single or didn't get significant airplay on Thriller. I actually really like Baby Be Mine, and it wasn't even a song that anyone paid attention to on the original release of Thriller. Check it out if you're not that familiar with it. It's a very good song. And so he had this other song, of course, that he was working on called Starlight, Starlight Sun. And Quincy Jones loved the track, but he thought Starlight was kind of a weak title. He tried again another revision called Midnight Man. It was a little better, but it wasn't what they're looking for. And they had some kind of idea to do some kind of horror-themed, scary, song. And that's what became Thriller. And so I guess Rod went back and he wrote the lyrics in just a couple hours. And that is the Thriller we know and love today. All right, number 2 is a song called Got the Hots. Now, Got the Hots is also another Rod Temperton track. It didn't get on Thriller, written and produced by Michael and Rod Temperton. It was released, it says, on the expanded special edition of Thriller in 2001. But it was later withdrawn. I don't know if that means they pressed some copies and then they took it off there, or it was actually, never on the record but considered for it. I'm not sure about that, but apparently some people have heard this song. Got the Hots. And then in 2008, it appeared on a bonus track of the 25th anniversary Japanese release of Thriller, and it's been on other compilation records as well. recorded during the 1981-1982 period when they were working on Thriller. All right, number 3 is a song called Who Do You Know? Now, Who Do You Know? I think almost nobody knows about this one. A lot of songs get leaked out. A lot of songs, people kind of recreate them or piece them together somehow. Who Do You Know? I don't know that many people have heard this or that it's been leaked out. It's a song he started working on in 1980. He was still working on it 2 years later in February 1982. The notes I have say that it was never leaked. It was considered for the Thriller album. He also considered it again for the Jacksons' Victory album in 1984, but chose other songs like State of Shock instead. So Who Do You Know is kind of one of the mystery songs that we're all going to enjoy hearing, pretty much for the first time this Friday, November 18th, when the release comes out. Next song on the second disc of the 40th anniversary release of Thriller is called Carousel. Now, Carousel was written by 2 different people, Don Freeman and Michael Sembello. Don Freeman is a session keyboardist from Philadelphia. I don't know much about him. Michael Sembello, of course, had the hit Maniac. That was in Flashdance. It was a big hit. And I have a connection to him because I worked with his brother, Danny Sembello. Danny was also a keyboardist, also a songwriter. I worked in his studio in Venice when I first moved out to LA. Very nice guy. He did songs like Neutron Dance for the Pointer Sisters and things like that. Sadly, he also passed away. He drowned, I think, in the ocean maybe 10 years ago, something like that, a little while ago. Very sad. Very nice guy. Anyway, so this song Carousel is known also as Circus Girl. There is a version of it out on the Italian edition of a compilation record called The Best of King of Pop. Apparently, a couple things have been released on that record previously. That came out in 2008, but most of us have not heard Carousel, and we're about to in just a few days. Next up, I've got one of their records around here. I should have dug it up. This is a song called Behind the Mask. Now, Behind the Mask is a song originally by the Yellow Magic Orchestra. They're like an early Japanese synthesizer band. One of the members is Ryuichi Sakamoto, who's gone on to do a lot of really great music, worked with a lot of different artists. But originally, the song Behind the Mask was on a record by the Yellow Magic Orchestra. Like I said, I should have dug up that record. I have one that's printed on yellow vinyl. It's pretty cool. So it says in the early 1980s, Quincy Jones brought the song to the attention of Michael. Michael liked it, but he rewrote the lyrics, kind of changed them to be about a relationship, and changed a little bit of the melody as well. It was supposed to be included in Thriller, but the Yellow Magic Orchestra apparently couldn't work out a deal or didn't want to let Michael release the song on their record for who knows why. They would have, of course, made a ton of money had they done it. And since then, Greg Phillinganes, Eric Clapton, the Human League have recorded their own versions of the song Behind the Mask. Apparently, it's okay for them to do, but for whatever reason, they didn't want it on Michael's record, so it wasn't there until this week when we finally get to hear Behind the Mask. Next song on the release is called Can't Get Out of the Rain. It's actually called Can't Get Outta the Rain. And it was released as a B-side, but it didn't appear on any of the albums. It's a strange kind of song. It's a weird idea. It was a song called You Can't Win. That was on the soundtrack of The Wiz, of course, that Michael performed on, the updated version of The Wizard of Oz. And that single, You Can't Win, was from that project. And then for some reason, at some point, Michael revisited it. There's a part in the song where he sings Can't Get Out of the Game, and he changed the word game to rain at some point afterwards. Very strange, and I don't know. I don't have high hopes for this one, but Can't Get Out of the Rain appeared as a B-side on Girl Is Mine and Billie Jean. It was also on this release called The Essential Michael Jackson 3.0, which and the Japanese Thriller 25th singles box set. And some international versions, again, of this compilation called the King of Pop, the Best of Michael Jackson. So it's been bouncing around for a little while. We'll get to hear it, in the official release of the 40th anniversary this week. Next up, a song called The Toy. And yes, The Toy was inspired by the 1982 Richard Pryor film with the same title. In that movie, of course, Richard Pryor plays a janitor, and a kid goes to the toy store. He's a rich kid. His dad says you can buy anything you want, and he buys Richard Pryor to use as his plaything. Not really an idea I think that would fly today, but back then, hey, people laughed. So after not making the cut for Thriller, Michael continued to work on this song, The Toy. It says for the rest of his career. He renamed it I Am Your Joy, and then it became Best of Joy. You'll see a lot of releases floating around with these names and whatever, and they're all kind of the same song. It finally came out in 2010 on the album Michael, after Michael passed away in 2009. And people say it's the last song he ever recorded in his life, that he finally worked on in 2008 and finished it up. And it got released on that Michael record. But this is the first time I think we're going to hear the 1982 version of the song when it was called The Toy. And that's what we've got coming up this Friday. Next up is a song we hear about a lot. It's called Sunset Driver. By the way, I can tell you, Michael Jackson was a terrible driver. He just did not have a handle on how to control an automobile. He tried his best, and during the project Dangerous that I, was a part of in some fashion, he used to drive himself to the studio, and at some point he got in an accident on the 101 freeway, and a guy was screaming and yelling at him, and Michael drove away, and this guy chased him to the studio, was banging on the door, hey, you hit my car. So after that, they started driving Michael to the sessions. But Sunset Driver, I assume, maybe is inspired by Sunset Boulevard and taking a drive, which probably Michael would have loved to have done. But again, one of the things that you and I take for granted that was actually very difficult for him to do. It was a demo written by Michael, worked on during the Off the Wall and the Thriller sessions. The 78 demo was supposed to be on the special edition of Off the Wall. For whatever reason, it got pulled and didn't make it on there. It was finally released in 2004 on something called the Ultimate Collection. And of course, it's coming out in 2022 on Thriller 40. And the one previously that came out, the Ultimate Collection, is not the 1978 demo, but a different version recorded in 1982 during the Thriller sessions. Like I said, he would revisit songs often. I know we had a vault of 20 or 30 songs that were in rotation that didn't really end up on the Dangerous release, maybe subsequent releases. A few of those songs, like Earth Song, finally came out. But, Michael wasn't Prince. He didn't have thousands of songs in the vault, but he had a good number, and I'm sure we could probably come up with at least another 10 or 12 songs if we did a 40th anniversary of Dangerous. And they would all be quality, interesting songs that people would like to hear. All right, the 9th track, and we're getting to the end of this finally, is another mystery song called What a Lovely Way to Go. Now, very little is known about What a Lovely Way to Go. If you read on social media, it says Michael wrote it in the late 70s and revisited it during the Thriller sessions, but didn't make it, to the album, and now we're going to get to hear it when this gets released in a couple days. Looking forward to that. Finally, the last song that we're going to get is a bonus track that's not a remix or a reissue or a reimagining or whatever. An original, unique song that was an unreleased track or a demo that we haven't heard that was recorded during the Thriller era is called She's Trouble. She's Trouble is also known as Trouble, a song by Michael that was recorded in 1981, written for Thriller, not included, has an interesting history, and it's been leaked online, and people have heard some of it. There's one with a rough vocal, and maybe a low-quality version of the final version we're going to get to hear. She's Trouble was actually released by the British reggae band Musical Youth, who had, of course, passed the Duchy. I think that was 1982, 1983, around the same time. They had this song out called She's Trouble. They didn't credit Michael for some reason, but apparently Michael is the person who wrote this song. It reached number 65 on the Hot 100 after Pass the Dutchie came out, which, it says reached number 10 in early 1983. Fun fact, She's Trouble was also covered by TV heartthrob Scott Baio on one of his ignored records from that same era. Now we're going to get to hear Michael's version of the song She's Trouble, and these other 9 songs, 10 in total, on the double disc reissue, 40th anniversary reissue of Thriller. I already ordered my copy. I hope you did too. I've gone on for long enough, but at least you get an idea what you're going to hear on there once it comes out in a couple days. And let me know your thoughts once you get to hear these songs. I've heard some of the songs. I'm not going to speak specifically about how they sound or what I think about them or whatever. Make up your own mind and let me know.